Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. So this one is gonna be, well, actually throwing it kind of like way back in the day, of basically me growing up different. So what I mean by that is I had a very normal family life, an older brother, mom, dad. They raised us to be respectable, well-mannered, and good kids all around. What I mean growing up different is my school life. So I went to French immersion for a couple years, mostly my kindergarten and then grade 1, and something just wasn't right. Like, my learning was off. I was very all over the place and stuff. So we moved schools, and I went to a non-French immersion school, which is a non-speaking French school. So basically a regular school. And a teacher there said, I think your daughter should be tested for a learning disability to my parents. So they did, and I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 7. And I wasn't struggling, but like to the degree where I was failing my classes, I was just having a harder time. So what they offered was to get me on the list to get me into a smaller class. So that would be like, there wasn't a lot of us. There was, I think at the most, when a class was like completely full, 10, but usually we were more close to like 7 or 8 of us. And it was just like a better learning environment, so like I could slowly learn, I can learn the right way. Like not slowly learn, I shouldn't say that, but like learn in a way that I could like understand, and not get left behind in the school system. So come grade 3, so I was 9 around that time, I got put into a smaller class. Now, with this is not for all classes you're in this small class. So they slowly, as like, pretty much off the bat, like they do integrate us into regular classrooms for certain classes like gym, music, and we would integrate into for science, but then like we would go back to our like smaller classes, and then the teacher would help us like break down the information, all that stuff. So that was that. But the whole thing was like, it was a good thing. Like there's usually only me and this other girl, and we grew up with boys in our class. As time went on, she almost fully integrated into the regular program, so I was usually the only girl, which didn't bother me. Like I was a tomboy. Like, I played in the mud, I got rough and stuff. Like occasionally I would wear dresses, but I was mostly like, in the dirt. Having fun and just playing sports and stuff. Like it never bothered me. The thing that some of us noticed, it wasn't obvious to like some, but that's okay, was that we were treated really different when we integrated into like the regular classrooms. Usually we got sent to the back of the class and like in a corner, and the teachers that were there teaching the regular class, we were basically like a burden to them, even though like like, because it was multiple like classrooms for the grades, right? So I guess how it was explained to me was that like every year the teachers would get asked like, oh, who wants to take on the integrated kids into the classroom, and the staff would volunteer. So it wasn't like they were like forced to deal with us, it was just like they volunteered to have us in the classroom. So like I don't understand like what the issue was, and like it was like sure, the teacher like knew that, we learned differently, but that was like whatever. But it's like they made it known to those students that we were different. And so those students picked up on it and treated us differently. So we were always known as like the stupid kids. Like it wasn't easy for us to integrate, Like we didn't have like this like bridge of like communication or like play or whatever. We were basically iced out, and we were bullied a lot. I mean, we were picked on, and for like primary school, so from like grade 3 to grade 6, it wasn't, I mean, it was bad. Like the bullying was bad, but it was like you can handle it. Like, I know how that sounds, but it was mostly teasing, right? But it was hard because like this, like we knew that yes, we learned differently, but we weren't stupid, right? We could still hold a conversation, we could still talk, we were like normal kids, we just learned differently. But it wasn't, like, we were very iced out, like, and the teachers that like had us like when we integrated into the class, like, they weren't nice, they were like nasty. There was only 2 teachers that were like amazing, and these 2 teachers actually taught my brother, and it was for my grade 5 class. And these 2 basically shared a classroom, so it was like a large class, but it was like kind of like you could divide it in the middle if you wanted to. And like they totally accepted us. They did not care that we, were in a small class. They treated us equally, and it was very refreshing and nice. Like, we weren't treated any differently. On top of that, during, I would say, from grade 4 to grade 6, our school was constantly under construction. So we had to move all the time. And it made learning very difficult. Like, because I mean, we were literally working out of boxes. And like, no tables. Most of the time we were sitting on the floor, and then we had tables, and then we had to move to another class. It was insane. But we were always like kind of targeted as like the stupid kids. But I mean, we made do. I mean, all of us stuck together. Yeah, we kind of like squabbled with us, like within our like smaller classrooms. But I mean, that's just normal, right? But we all had each other's back. Now, from grade 7 to 8, so that's middle school here, or was middle school. Now it's 6 to 8, but for me it was 7 and 8. Kids got more nasty. Well, I mean, older, right? Like, it was hard. I mean, still the teachers did not like us when we integrated into the class, and at that time it was for more classes. Granted, the periods were longer at that time, but we were integrated like into more classes. So for sometimes like half the period or whatever, and then we'd go back to our class, and then whatever, we would work on our stuff from there. But it was just, it was tough. Like, yeah, we had that freedom because we were older and stuff, but like, kids get nastier. So like, there'd be times where like I had gum thrown in my hair, like definitely iced out from the teachers. Like, they did not appreciate that. Like, we were there. And for me, it got really bad because come grade 8, we had like this special testing and whatever, and like I was above like where I should be. So basically, for like half the year, I was basically almost full time in like a regular classroom with classes, but I would go back to my smaller classroom for support and all that stuff. That was tough because I was alone. I didn't have like my friends. Like, I would see them when like they would integrate into our classes, But like when they weren't there and I was like there alone, it was very hard. The teachers were not nice. They were really disrespectful. They still saw me as like, you know, a kid with a disability. So like, so, and then of course the kids would pick up on that, and like they weren't really nice. When we did group work, I basically didn't do group work because nobody wanted me in the group and the teachers were okay with that. So like I would be grouped with my other classmates that would come into that class, or like if they weren't integrated for that class, then like I was alone doing projects by myself. It was very tough, and like trying to like, excuse me, maneuver all of that at like such a young age. I mean, it wasn't really foreign to me because like from 3 to 6 I was treated that way too. So right, so it wasn't like this big culture shock. I mean, it was a new school, but I mean, it was still the same like treatment and whatnot. And you learn quick to grow a thick skin, because kids are gonna tease you, they're gonna be mean, they're gonna like push and shove and just do really like bullying, right? And luckily at that time, like, technology was there, but it's not as big as is now. So there wasn't a lot of online bullying, thank Christ. But yeah, I mean, I mostly like, stuck to myself. I think, and I had my friends in my other classes, right? In the smaller classes, and like most of us were there from like the get-go, from like when I came into the smaller classes, from grade 3 all the way to grade 8. And then some of them even into high school, right? So it was nice to still have that bond and that kind of friendship for all those years. You could talk to somebody that was going through the same thing. I think I really shocked one of my English teachers. So we basically had to like create a story. And like there were certain things like we had to put in, like you had to put in a problem and you had to solve it, but you had to create a story. And honestly, I think my English teacher thought I was like gonna suck at that, but one of my strong suits is writing, and I've always gotten good grades in there. And I ended up getting like an A+, because she was just shocked that I put the detail, the thought, built up the characters, I created a story, a world, and like she was just shocked. She didn't know what to say. And so after I got that, and she held a copy, and for like 3 or 4 weeks she read stories from the class, and the really high graded ones. So when it came to mine actually took 2 classes to read because it was so long, and everybody was like kind of like shocked because she only told us like who wrote it like at the end, because she wanted people like to guess, to think. And when she said my name, like the class was just like, no, like that couldn't be like true. And I was like, yeah, I wrote that, like not a big deal. Like, to see like the shock on everybody's face, like, oh, you're not stupid, like, oh, you're supposed to be stupid, like this doesn't make sense, was like, I kind of had to laugh at that, right? Because it's just like, well, don't judge a book by its cover, or like what you hear. Like, just because I come from a smaller class does not mean that I don't know anything. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of like how I grew like a thick skin. So like, yeah, bullying sucked and whatnot. And like, granted, like, because like, even at a young age, like, I knew, like, because it was the teachers, like, you could tell that it was the demeanor and how they acted around us. So, of course, the other kids would pick up on that and do the same thing because they didn't know any better. The adult in their life, for most of the time, 7 to 8 hours a day, they learn from that, right? You're supposed to learn from your teachers and whatnot. So, I don't blame the kids. I mean, it was just behavior they were, like, basically taught. Um, but I mean, as the years went on and as we got older, it was more of a choice of theirs and not kind of like they could tell right from wrong, basically, right? I mean, yes, at a young age you're taught right from wrong, but like if you're taught the wrong behavior, I mean, you're kind of gonna just follow suit. But then again, as you get older, you kind of realize that that's wrong behavior, but I mean, it was a personal choice for them to continue on, right? Um, so I mean, I totally understand and like I don't at the same time, which is a confusing answer, but yeah, that was kind of like my integration into like, learning how people could be very interesting, right? So going into high school, like I'm not going to go into a whole detail here. Like I had an idea of like, oh, people, can be assholes. And like going into a school where we all had like a learning disability, that's what the school was for. Slash trade school, right? So we were very hands-on. Like I just thought that, okay, we are in high school, kids gonna be dicks, but like I didn't expect what I went through to happen. That was kind of like a wow moment, right? And of course, like lots of stuff happened there. And even though like I had a thick skin going in, like, the stuff that happened was kind of, yeah. But anyways, guys, speak English. Ugh, you can tell like I'm tired. Sorry, guys. It's been an exhausting few days. Finished my exams. I graduated from college again. So I'm excited for that, and I'm just gonna kind of take it easy, and then probably, of course, do some more courses and, start on my journey there. But anyways, guys, thanks for sticking around. I know this video is a little bit different, but I thought I'd kind of like go back in time and, explain a few things. But anyways, remember, guys, never give up. Always keep fighting. You're enough, and you're very much loved. And until the next video, I love you guys.